On your last trip, did you discover what the Earth people eat? They eat a great many of these. They peel them with their metal knives. Boil them for 20 of their minutes. Then they smash them all to bits. They are clearly a most primitive people.
Well, this is a turn up for the books. Yeah. So, hello. What's been going on? Not that it's important to anybody, but I've not done a video. I've not done a video for, I don't know, quite some time. So I thought we'd talk about that. I find the further away you get from your last YouTube video, the harder and harder it becomes to go back and do a video. Does that make sense? Yeah, when you get out of that routine. But so let's kind of talk about that, I suppose, by way of an explanation. Nothing pretentious here, nothing dramatic. I'm not going to get rid of the channel, but the simple explanation has been just been so busy on the domestic front. So if I've got any pictures or any kind of video relating to my ramblings, I shall endeavour to plonk them in this video somewhere. But yeah, while we're talking, in the background running there is my city. Very big now, very big. But I'm running out of space on this map, so we'll just leave that running. But yeah, been really busy. The latter part of last year, well, in particular, the kind of coming to the end of the summer, I had to do a lot of work on my own roof. I did the work. Yeah, I did the work. So it's been I've got a bit of a throat situation, a chest problem. I've been ill for the last few days, but I'm on the mend. Yeah, so the roof situation or chimney situation, it's been an issue that has been kind of visited by so-called experts a couple of times over a couple of years, a lot of money spent on it, and still no, or at the time, still no resolution. So I just had enough, spent a lot of money on it, wasted my time, obviously wasted the money. I find, obviously, you know, if you're the exception and you're in that kind of field of work, I find a lot of tradespeople these days, they're not really interested in telling you, you know, you only need this, that, and the other. They're only focusing on the maximum they can do for the maximum quote. So you've got to learn that the hard way, which I have done over several issues over several years with different aspects to do with our houses. So anyway, couple of companies did work on it, still not resolved. They were absolutely obsessed with replacing the flashing. Anyway, cut a long story short, it never worked out. So I kind of got a bit brave, and I thought to myself, I'm going to do the research, and this time I'm going to pay for the scaffolding completely independently. So I paid for scaffolding all the way up to the roof line. Then I had it went up further than that, so then I had a completely kind of independent sort of gantry to the chimney stack itself. So that came in at about, I don't know, 700, 800 pounds, which I found kind of reasonable when you consider how much scaffolding went up. So I did that, and then I began to do my research. I thought, stuff it, I shall take the work on myself. So very stressful because my line of work is a million miles away from skilled labour, shall we say. But I'm willing to try anything, take anything on, which I have done over the years. And you have to. If you do own your own house, you quickly learn that unless you've got very trusted contacts in various kind of fields, you're going to be taken to the cleaners. So all the scaffolding went up. I went up there and I just, fine tooth comb, I went through all the issues. So that involved me getting involved mainly in repointing. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Repointing a lot of the chimney. I don't know what the stones are called. The kind of capping stones, the apex kind of stones in parts of the roof in general. There was massive gaps in some of them. Again, none of this was reported by prior roofers, prior contractors. It was just a case of, I want to do all the flashing, and I used to say, why are we doing the flashing considering how the water is getting in? Flashing looked fine in my opinion. So anyway, regardless of that, so I found some areas, repointed them. I went online. YouTube is a fantastic resource for teaching yourself different skills. So I was really, really quite pleased with the way that turned out. I found that the last roofer had used this weird kind of... So when they replaced the flashing the last time, rather than use like a regular mortar, they use this I can only describe it as like a plastic kind of based mortar. So, but of course, when I began to investigate that, over time, it hasn't been a long time, this mortar really shrinks. So it's like an artificial, it's kind of like rubberized that they use for the flashing, and that's just rubbish, absolute rubbish. That had really shrunk, so there was quite large gaps running all along where the flashing went into the wall. So I dealt with that, did quite a lot. That was all good. I was happy with that. Did some other work which I had to do, like emergency repair work on the other side of the roof, because in all honesty I couldn't take it on in the time span. But that is another project to return to, because the wall will need, the gable end will need like rendering and stuff. One area that I've not mastered yet. So did all that. Then my next challenge was, I'd realised I could see where the scaffolding was. Obviously they rest that gantry on the roof. One of the tiles had broken, so I thought, well, I'll cover it for now, and I'll ask the guys to remove the gantry when I finished, and then I'll get up there and deal with that tile. So consequently, The guys turned up. They removed the gantry from the chimney, and it turned out that in the end I had six. Was it six? 5 or 6 broken tiles all in a row. So obviously, I don't think any scaffolding company will give you a. They're not going to be responsible for broken tiles because of the sheer weight of the rig that has to surround the chimney. So, I'm not an expert. That's not what I do for a living. So I take it that's just a necessary risk that you take. So I was going to get a guy over quickly because I only had a week left on a normal scaffolding, and even he wanted like £150. I think it was 150, maybe 200. Ridiculous to do the tiles. So again, did my own research. Found a local roofing company. Kind of walked in there with my missus. I said, I obviously don't look like a roofer. Whatever roofers are supposed to look like. And I said, look, this is the name of the tile I need. Give me this amount in case I mess it up and I break it. And the guy in there was so helpful. He was so incredibly helpful. I think the tiles were 65 pence each. Unbelievable. And I was very lucky because that particular course of tiles were not nailed. So, and I think I retiled that section in about an hour. And when you think of what I was quoted, and that was no ladders involved, the scaffolding was already there. The new tiles were already there or would be there for them. Ridiculous. I shudder to think how some people are taken for every penny they've got. It's really, really a sad state of affairs. So that's what I did. I did all that. Touch wood, everything's fine. The leaking has stopped. The area that was a real problem is bone dry, and I'm really, really proud of myself for taking that on. I don't like heights, but you have to get into the zone and don't think about it too much. And I find once you're up there working, and you're focusing on one particular task, you don't really think about it. And obviously with the scaffolding, I don't really mind. So yeah, been a really the kind of the tail end of the summer, getting to the end of September, really, really busy time. And obviously I've had that break from doing videos. And as I said at the beginning, the more distance you get from uploading a video, I find the harder it is to return to it. But I shall do. I'll do my best. So what's been happening besides that? The game room I call it the media room now, because that's what it is. It's kind of 50-50 between games and movies. That's all fine. Still looking good. I like that. It's a small room, but I like it. My biggest pickup, we'll do a separate video on it, which I'm so happy that I finally made my mind up, was my turntable. So I was very much into pirate radio way back in the day in southwest London, very much involved in that. I used to have 2 Technics SL1200s, and then they were replaced by 1210s a few years after that. They worked very hard circuits they worked. So obviously they were discontinued, and I just couldn't bring myself to buy an inferior turntable, and the prospect, I looked into the prospect of buying a second-hand 1200, and it's just a nightmare. There are so many basket cases out there, and yeah, I just gave up on that idea. And then I know that a couple of years ago, or possibly, yeah, about 2 years ago, Technics released the kind of less pretentious, but supposed to be the true successor to the SL12 1200. So I ended up pulling the trigger on the SL1210 Mark 7. Yes, it was expensive, but I don't think I could have lived with anything else. So, yeah, if you know about that kind of thing, I mean, it's no good telling me about the quality of the Mark 7 up against the Mark 2. That is obvious to me. But the main kind of purpose, if you like, for the turntable is just domestic use, for listening to records this time. So, but yeah, I don't think I could have accepted any of these really, really bogus kind of naff, what should we say, clones like the Audio Technica. At least the Audio Technica clone is direct drive. So yeah, I've got that. Got a lot of other pickups. So many that I just cannot think of them. Lots of DLC. So what we'll do is we'll start getting into the swing of things again. Come back with some videos. Nothing's going to change for me. Whatever I like goes up. Unfortunately, one of my CRT TVs blow up on me. Luckily, it wasn't my really nice Trinitron. I would have been really upset, but it was one of my mini 12-volt sets. So, apologies for the voice. Yeah, you've got to be really careful. Never leave any of these old items, whether they be games consoles, TV equipment, hi-fi equipment. Never leave them unattended in standby mode, because this TV began to make a few crackling noises, and I put it down to initially like the infinity power cable. I thought maybe that was slightly loose, but anyway, consequently it went crazy crackling, and yeah, the smoke was just pouring out of it. But bizarrely, it was running a perfect picture and sound. So I've not looked at that yet. I'll have to. Don't know what's happened there. It's got both 12 volts and mains. So I will see if I can fix it. I probably can't, to be honest with you. Not a thing that I truly understand. Someone said, it's going to be a capacitor or something, but we'll see. I'd like to keep that little TV. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As I could think of stuff, then obviously we'll break them down. We'll do separate videos, pickup videos, gameplay videos. But yeah, the pickups are countless, and the kind of new additions to the game room. But there you go. Yeah, apologies about the gap in videos. So it's been a very busy time. And if I was a roofer, I'd give you an honest opinion. I would say to you, do you know what? You've only got to spend £400. Rather than quoting someone £2,000. It's just, I just don't know sometimes in all walks of life. I don't know how people live with themselves. I really don't. But then I suppose I wouldn't be a very well-off roofer if I had that attitude. So guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.